now entering the Horror Sanctum.
Hello and welcome back to the Horror Sanctum Podcast. I'm Jay with John and Kellen, and we are hitting the road and heading to Tromaville to celebrate the release of the Toxic Avenger reboot, which is in theaters on August 29th. And what better way to do that than to discuss the 1984 cult classic itself? Our tour guide for this journey is director, actor, and Tromaville native Ben Johnson. Ben, welcome to the Sanctum.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very excited to be here. This is going to be a good
Also, I
time.
think I always forget to I always put it beside my. We're going to talk about this. See, there's the green screen in full effect. It kind of looks cool like that. Before we get started, I just thought about this a few minutes ago. You can't see this because of my green screen, but it is the Toxic Avenger variant cover of Fangoria for members and subscribers only. Now, I won an extra copy of this, so at some point during this episode, I'm going to randomly say a code word. If you message me on my personal Instagram, the Sad Spaceman video page, with that keyword, I will mail you this and a few other goodies. So sometime randomly, I'm going to say a keyword. Message me, tell me what that word was. I'm not going to tell you what it is because all you assholes will listen to the beginning, you'll listen to the end. So I'm going to pop that motherfucker somewhere in the middle just to piss you off and make you listen. So I will be giving away a copy of Fangoria number 28 with the Toxic Avenger variant cover and a few other goodies sprinkled in. So pay attention to that keyword later. All right. Ben, you've been involved in several Troma flicks. Most recently, you directed Curse of the Weredeer. I
Yeah.
almost went to a showing of that. I think it was in Gallatin.
Yeah,
There was a
yeah.
showing. I almost went to that and something came up and I didn't. I'm still pissed I
Oh,
didn't.
you should have. It was a party. We did it at the historic Palace Theater there. We had about 100 people come out locally for a movie that was arguably unfinished at the time. Also saw three additional changes, including a proper sound mix in the year and a half that followed before we officially premiered at Tromathon in 2024.
Nice. You're also in hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm, which I have seen,
Yeah.
and you're art director for Clone Cops,
Yeah.
which has some local ties. It's not Troma, but it totally could be, right?
I
So,
mean, it fits the mold as far as concept and creation goes. They're a little I would challenge, and I've told Danny and Phil as much. They're a little more reserved, and it would be the most wholesome trauma movie, I think.
that's definitely the word I would use for Clone Cops because I actually sent in a script to Lloyd years ago. I came up with this little comic book idea based on a homeless guy I knew that came around my job, and it's called The Hobo Diaries. I'm like, I could totally write a movie, so I wrote a movie just to do it. Like I had no intentions of doing anything with it, and then like they're taking submissions at Troma, so I like rewrote it, added more boobs, more sleaze. Never heard back, but that's okay. Wrote a sequel, third one. I might write that too, and it's going to be a musical at Christmas. So, anyways,
I
uh,
would tell you what Lloyd would probably say is like why send it to us? We write nonsense. You have a beautiful script here. Go out and shoot it. Make it
uh,
yourself. Make
he
your
would say
own
that
damn
being
movie.
nice only. He'd be like,
Do
"What
you
the
think he would
fuck?"
say, make your own damn movie,
I
Jay?
He might. Let me go grab my own copy over there. Anyways, we're getting so far in the weeds here. But anyways, you've worked with all that, and we asked you to pick some movies. I think one of them was August Underground, which we won't get into because Kellen just watched that and he will never watch it again.
It's
I
a
personally,
beautiful film. Are you kidding me?
beautiful. That's another word. I don't think that would be used to
We're
describe the
recording
movie.
this in August. No, it is. It is. And listen, this is the thing. You guys, I feel so badly for you having to do this with me tonight because if you think we're going to have any sort of like linear dialogue, I apologize. August Underground. August Underground is a beautiful film, and I'll tell you why. Fred Vogel cut his teeth at the Tom Savini School, right? Like, so he was a student there. He made this movie so much of the seams in August Underground were showing from like the makeup, the effects, and all of this stuff that it was a creative choice to diminish the footage to make it actually look older than it actually was to to hide a lot of those early sort of quote unquote mistakes or errors, or a person who's learning their trade. So it is a beautiful exercise in like ingenuity and thinking, and working through your challenges to make something desperately challenging. The first one's rough enough, but I mean, by the time you get to Mortem, holy God, do they do some fun things. Like Mortem is a party. If you haven't seen the second one, that's the one.
Yeah, but see, you're deeper than what we got off of the surface, right?
Yeah.
All that stuff I completely understand. But we're here to talk about 1984's Toxic Avenger. If you're not familiar, come on, like seriously. Directed by Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hurst, a 98-pound nerd from New Jersey lands in a vat of toxic waste and becomes a benevolent monster.
So this has to be the absolute like definition of a cult film. Like this movie has to be, if you looked it up, it's got to be. It's like this and Repo Man. Repo Man, I would say I like a little more. Repo Man is like one of the best films ever. But I think of cult film, I think this, I think Repo Man. I don't know, maybe Buckaroo Banzai or something. But this is right there, Toxic Avenger. This is what exploitation and cult films are all about, really. It's really hard to make a movie like this now. In general, I think obviously they're trying with the remake. We'll see. I have my reservations. We'll see how it goes, right? I'm an old school Troma guy, so I kind of leave it be. It might be very good, but it's so hard because I think, in the 80s when Troma really kicked in, and I know it was really the late 70s because I know like Mother's Day was 1980. I think there were so many things happening in the US with, Reagan era and our culture and post-Vietnam. And there was just so many things happening that a movie like this was like the natural outcome of it, right? Where you're basically, it's over the top, it's funny, it's offensive, it's all these things. But in a way, watching it now, it's funny. I watched it yesterday and having like 40-year-old eyes, I just saw all these things about it. I was like, I see what he was doing here. Like,
and if I may, Lloyd's on the record. It's part of the Troma scope, the Troma mentality, ripped from the day's headlines. You know what I mean? And like that's the biggest part of it. If you have a platform to say something, use it to say something.
Right. Absolutely. And you can tell. I mean, there's just, I think a lot of the extreme behavior with the villains in the movie, the humor, the offensiveness. I mean, it really is kind of I almost want to say like a parody in a way of the 80s and like what we were going through as a society, just with politics and I mean everything. You think about the insane shit of the 80s with serial killers and politics and so many things that were happening, and sort of that, RoboCop's another movie that kind of touched on that
but
crazy era.
It sort of pre-predicts where sort of, I guess, shines a light, pre-predicts sort of modern day beliefs in a lot of systems about all that aside, like this movie is beyond like sort of culture in a way. It's very representative of what was going on at the time.
Yeah, and I think if you watched it, I could see how a casual moviegoer would watch it, and if they didn't really if they weren't really to understand the mindset, they would watch it and they would go, "Oh my God, like what the hell is this?" Right? But I think when you take it in and you kind of see it, it just like that clicked in my head. I don't know why, and it's not that I never thought somewhat of that. I think when I saw it when I was younger, it was more so just the fun insanity of it. But as an adult, I kind of see what he was kind of doing as well from an adult standpoint, and it's just fascinating sometimes how films it's all about the time period and the era, and that is the hardest thing. I really hope the remake can capture some of that. I mean, even the characters in this movie, like the guy who looks like Corey Feldman's cousin with the red bandana, who was in Class of Nukem.
Yep.
Something, I think his real name is what is his real name? Something with a P, maybe.
Yeah. Pete or something.
Yeah.
Those two guys though, they've been making the rounds recently. They were at Tromathon 2025 this year, meeting and greeting the fans. They've been out on a few things to help support the reimagining of the Toxic Avenger.
Is he the one that's
Yeah.
going to be at
Robert
FrankenCon?
Pritchard.
Yes,
Robert Pritchard. Yeah.
There
Is he
you
the
go.
one that's going to be at FrankenCon this year? John?
Both of those guys are. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and it's interesting. All the characters in this movie are just, oh my God, it's like a who's who of oddball characters. And it made me think, even watching it again, I was like, where the hell did Lloyd find these people? Like, it was like the most random people in the casting. It's like spot on. And really, like, all their parts are so dead on with like how they're acting and like the over the top nature. I was thinking like even in some of the kills and all, it's funny. I was like, I always think of that what is that clip from Nacho Libre where he's like, take it easy. That's all I could think was like Jason or Freddy Krueger watching this movie and they're like, take it easy. Like the kills because it's so
So
over the top, you know.
And again, not to sort of sideline, but in working with Lloyd for like 25 years, you learn a couple of things, right? So we're getting ready to make our movie, and I'm talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, do you have a production office?" "Yeah, Lloyd, we got an office. Don't worry about it." "You don't have an office." "Well, what are you talking about? What are you going to do it from your kitchen table?" "Lloyd, I have an office. I have a laundromat. We have an office space attached. You have a laundromat?" "Yeah, I got a laundromat." "You got to kill a kid in a dryer. You'll never feel as powerful until you stuff a kid into a dryer, right? It's the greatest thing in the world." Yeah, hypes it up real big. He wants to add some input. He's our sole producer on the movie. So we add it. We put it in. My best friend just had a kid, just had a baby. She's like 2 months old, right? I say, "Hey man, can we throw your baby in a dryer at the laundromat?" Lloyd says we have to stuff a kid in a dryer. "Yeah, man, sure."
Just
So
nonchalant.
yeah, yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, no problem. I'll bring her by. It'll be fine." So we put him in the outfit so he can put his own kid in this dryer, and it's not a stranger who's gonna, drop the baby and mess it up, and they still have a soft thing in the back of their heads. So he does it. We get the shot. Everything is great. Send Lloyd a rough. He watches through it. He gives me a call. He's like, "Pretty good, but what the fuck is this baby in the dryer? What is that? You can't do that. That's terrible." And I was like, he's like, "It's not fun. It's not funny." He's like, it's fucked up. Why is he doing it?" "Lloyd, wait a minute. That was your idea." He takes a second and goes, "Well, maybe it is funny. I don't know." And then he just goes right into the next thing. But it all ties back to Toxie 1. It all ties back to the little old lady that gets, what is it, dry cleaned. She gets pressed in the giant presser,
Yeah.
which you talk about great kills, right?
Yeah.
They do a thing in here that I really appreciated that they didn't go like full-blown cartoony, which is by the time they got to Terra Firma, I feel like they may have gone full-blown cartoony with it. But when they press that woman in there, when you see that corpse, she's still like just big and looks a little maybe more bloated, but her face is what is the most disturbing part when they come back to it, because she just got that like, and then like everything is all just sort of swollen, like blistered, as opposed to full-blown burn, which is what I think those things might do. It's a great kill. It's a very funny moment. Her kid's been jizzing all over his pants, and you're like, this poor old lady. She's got a chronic masturbator for a son, and now she's getting killed. And what'd she ever do to nobody? You find out. White slavery. White slavery. She's involved in the white slave trade. So
Yikes.
Toxie is still the innocent. He's still the innocent in this.
Yeah. Well, and that's, this movie, I never put this together until now, that there's kind of like a part of this movie that's sort of a slasher film. It goes from like, it's an origin. He's kind of like a slasher because he's just straight up killing people. And then at the end of it, it's the Frankenstein thing where feels like he's gone too far. But I never thought about it. It's like there's moments in this movie where it's like a slasher movie. I thought that was kind of cool. But
it's pretty great. And again, that's sort of the churn, right? Is that moment, because up until then, everybody that he's killed, the audience is fully aware of like the depths of their depravity, right? Like, except for, well, no. Uh, I almost went a step too far. We're aware of everybody's depravity that he has killed. The thing with her is like that's a cue to the audience to be like, well, wait, maybe this guy isn't what we thought he is. Maybe he's not who he thinks he is. It's this internal sort of dilemma that he's also going through. And as a guy in his 40s, we go through that a lot. Like you feel a little bit more, even though technically he's like a 20 something who still lives with his mom. Which, by the way, can we just talk about what an amazing actor Mark Torgl is? Come on. Like, I mean,
he was great. I'm excited to meet him at FrankenCon next year. Like, he's someone that's been on my list for a while now. I feel like he's just now kind of started to come out and do more things.
a little bit more and a little bit more outside of the Tromaverse, right? Like so he's getting out and about. He's always had a presence mostly on like West Coast stuff, and he's been in a number of Lloyd produced movies. So I know he's in a couple of Mercedes the Muse movies. If you guys have seen Special Needs Revolt, he's in that. A wonderful, wonderful film. But I also want to say something, not to brag.
Sounds like a brag.
There's gonna be a lot of talk about the new Toxie, I'm sure. I just want to say I had the opportunity to actually see the film in its entirety.
Oh, nice.
And all I can say is like, if this is what these nerds are gonna get, they should kiss Macon Blair's feet. It is beautiful.
I'm stoked. I'm stoked.
That's cool.
And before we go deeper, I talked about the giveaway. I turned my green screen off, but it's still kind of hard to see. Anyways, Toxic Avenger variant Fangoria cover. I will be giving away to one of you guys listening. You just have to message me on my personal page, which is at Sad Spaceman Video. Just message me the word MOP, M-O-P. First person to do that will get that and a few other goodies in the mail.
Cool.
Yeah, so the Toxic Avenger, let's just get this out of the way. Possibly, definitely top 5 greatest B horror films of all time. Like, I don't think you can even discuss that genre without bringing up 1984's Toxic Avenger. Because for the budget, for the time, for what it is, it's almost perfect of what they were trying to do. It's slapstick, it's horror, it's comedy. It's deeper than just surface level. It's about corruption and all kinds of good socio-political things. And you look at it, it's hour 27 minutes. It could have been longer. They didn't. There's not really a whole lot of waste in here. It's just scene to scene. It's almost kind of like a compilation, just the way that you bounce from different types of scenes. But it's all one cohesive movie. And what surprises me on rewatching, and I've seen this movie probably 10 times. What surprises me on rewatching is how good the dialogue is, considering this is a cheesy horror film. Like, there's a lot of higher budget, newer movies that are horribly written compared to this. And that's just a testament to Lloyd Kaufman's brilliance as a B movie creator. Me and Jay met him a couple of years ago at Full Moon Cineplex in Hermitage, Tennessee, or Donaldson, whatever you want to call it.
Was that for
Return to Nukem High?
Return Twos? Yeah. You're welcome if you bought any merch that night. I was doing the booth for a minute.
Well, we definitely saw you face to face. Yeah.
Yes.
100%. Yeah, I bought an I Heart the Monster shirt from there and got to meet Mr. Kaufman. He was super awesome. Didn't charge anything for pictures. It was almost like he was appreciative of his fans. Weird concept, right? But
do you know what my favorite part of that night was? And it's very, very clear he'd been in the back imbibing in some Tennessee whiskey. But he comes out, and I think it was after Volume 1. He comes out, and he's walking down the aisle to go up for the Q&A, and he goes, "Tennessee gets it." Tennessee gets it. He's like, I don't know. I showed this thing everywhere before he gets a microphone, before he gets anything. But you guys, you get it. You're laughing at stuff when you're supposed to laugh at it, and for the reasons you're supposed to. He was so shocked and like just genuinely yeah, to your point, very appreciative. He always has been.
Yeah, he was super great. It's one of those, they say don't meet your heroes. But meeting him was super awesome. Just because he was so personable. And I mean, he was literally just walking around with everybody like he wasn't the person who created the film that everybody was there to watch.
Right,
So
right.
that was super cool. But like I said, an hour and 27 minutes. And surprisingly, and I say surprisingly because a lot of movies like this do not score well, it has a 70% on Rotten Tomato, which I think is absolutely phenomenal for this film, especially considering they kill a kid and a dog, which
Yes.
I will take a half a point off at the end. I'm just going to go ahead and preface that.
Don't take my
Dog.
ranking stuff.
I'm already taking a half a point off for that, only because for personal reasons. But
Is it the kid or the dog? Which one's the half the point?
Oh,
The dog,
dog.
right?
fuck
Yeah.
them kids. The dog.
Yeah,
It's the
fuck
dog.
Oh, I
kid.
can,
Yeah.
I can help. I can actually help that out a lot. If you slow that scene down,
He
that
does
dog
breathe.
he's having a
Oh,
ball. He's
yeah.
like
He's still
rolling.
breathing,
He's
yeah.
having a ball. It's like
So-
a golden retriever with like a harness on
principle.
it. Yeah.
If you had to kill a poor defenseless, beautiful, gorgeous, amazing creature such as a dog on film, that was probably the most comical way to do it because the way he fast paced slides across the floor, and then you see him with what can only be described as vomit on his side instead of, and then he's just breathing. Yeah, he's having a great time, but still, just the visual itself. No, the kid was shocking when I was younger because I was like, oh my god, they killed that kid.
They killed Joey. They killed my buddy. Yeah.
That's the point. That's the point. I try to make my wife watch it. That's the point. She just looked like like when you're watching a movie. First of all, everything's funnier when you're by yourself, right? But like I'm trying to make her watch this, and all that happens. I can just feel her staring at me. I turn, and she's just like, with that little head cock. I'm like, okay, we'll turn it off.
Well, she is an educator, so it's probably maybe she was thinking about some kids that she. No, I'm not going to say that. Take that. No, we're not getting anybody canceled tonight. Yeah.
Here's what a sick son of a bitch I am. I named my dog Leroy after the guy who kills the dog in the Toxic Avenger. Very, very purposefully.
Well, and speaking of Bozo and Slug,
Yeah.
they're so over the top that typically in movies that doesn't work. But because of the way this film is made, because of how over the top everything is, like this was a movie that doesn't take itself seriously. It is being made to have fun on screen. Like there's like I said, there's deeper meaning. There's more socio-political stuff behind it. But this movie, you can tell that they were making a movie to have fun making a movie. This was not some big budget Hollywood studio where there's people breathing down their throat. This is Lloyd Kaufman making a movie based on a character he created and just having fun with it, which is why Troma works so well because it's consistently movies made for the joy of making movies, in my opinion, based on the Troma movies I've watched. One thing I noticed when I was looking up some more details about this movie, there's an actor named Patrick Kilpatrick in the movie. He plays the guy with the two-face, the paint on one side.
Leroy. Yeah.
Yeah, he is one of my favorite horror, scary villain, whatever you want to call him, in cinema history, playing the Sandman in Jean-Claude Van Damme's Death Warrant. That character, the Sandman, freaked me out so much as a kid, and it was his face, it was the way he talked. You can't kill me, I'm the Sandman. That whole jumping out of the furnace, just fantastic. So it was kind of neat to see his face pop up. I was like, he looks super familiar. Let me look. And the first movie that pops up is Death Warrant. So that was a neat little Easter egg for myself. Because Death Warrant was a movie that I completely forgot about, but I remembered scenes from it as a kid, and then I ended up finding it. I think John helped me remember the name of it a couple of years ago because I could not remember the name of the movie.
Undercover cop in a prison, you got to fight the same. It happens to all of us. We've all been there.
And he's an undercover cop in a prison because they're killing inmates to harvest their organs. Well,
I know. That's like Tuesday for us.
If it hasn't happened once, it's happened 1,000 times.
Exactly. You're right.
But yeah, all of that to say, this movie is just so fun. And we've talked about it before. There's movies that you hold dear for nostalgia. And this is one of those movies for me. it's nostalgic because I remember watching it when I was younger, like a preteen. Um, Came out a year after I was born. So I remember watching it on basic cable and I didn't get all of the blood and gore and the nudity and things like that. And then go back and watch it again. And I love that they used Night on Bald Mountain for whenever he shows up
Yeah.
in the scenes to start killing people because it's such an iconic piece of music. And I'm sure part of it had to do with royalties because it's, it's a older piece of music and they could probably get it for free, but it's so fitting for the
Yep.
slapstick nature of this film to have this real serious music piece come in while he's ripping some guy's arm off and getting in nunchuck
it-
fights with another.
It's a Night on Bald Mountain and then Body Talk. And it's like, so I was watching earlier today and I forget just how much Body Talk also permeates this movie. And it's like you get the rights to one good song in your contract. You say I can use this as much as I want to for whatever I want to, be it trailers, be it promotion, be it whatever. Or I can just make the whole fucking soundtrack Body Talk and it'll be fine. That and whatever. So yeah, no, I get it. And we also did it. I'm not gonna lie, I suckled at this man's teeth to figure out how to really make a movie on nothing. And famously, I think the budget for this was like between a mil and like 1.5, somewhere in there. It was like pretty low for the 80s for actual cinema when you're shooting on film. But Troma's budgets have only gotten lower. They've only gotten lower. They do the exact opposite of what a big studio does. Last time we spent $2 million, this time we'll spend 10, that kind of bullshit. In 90, maybe it was like 96 or 97, my parents called me into the living room because they were doing a 2020 piece on Troma, right? So I sat down and I watched because they knew I was big fans. But Lloyd was talking about they were getting ready to do Romeo and Juliet at the time, and he was like, "Yeah, our budget's like 250, $300,000. Hollywood will spend millions upon millions, and this is all we're spending." And he's like, "We think the rest of that money should go to the school teachers, people like that, people who are actually doing the work. This is just a stupid movie." And like to a degree, he always downplays like the importance of what they do, but the importance of what they do, it shines through, but also literally the absurdity of it because it's if the director is the auteur and the film is his event, again, why waste? Troma uses their Lloyd will tell you if you go to make your own movie, don't use other people's money. Use your own money. You get a better view of what it is. So you get to really understand where your waste happens at that point. He won't go that far into it, but that's a lesson he wants you to learn.
Was Troma's War the biggest budget he ever had?
I think it's either Troma's War or even Kabuki Man, because in Sergeant Kabuki Man, they partnered with a Japanese company, and I forget their name, but they partnered with them. There was like toy stuff, video game stuff, even a Saturday morning cartoon that was in the works that all went to shit. And he writes about it in All I Need to Know About Filmmaking. But Lloyd talks about the fact that Kabuki Man is, and again, he over exaggerates. It's like, it's my biggest regret. He's like, it's the one time that I caved. He's like, I caved and I tried to work with people and it fucking blew up in my face. And it's still a great movie. The unrated director's cut is
I love
perfect.
Kabuki Man. Troma's War, I read earlier today. It was the biggest one. I think it was 3 mil.
Yeah, there you go.
I love that movie. I have the soundtrack on vinyl. Like,
put out by what? Ship to Shore, right? Ship to Shore Records.
Yep.
Justin Martell, another Trolumni. He was Lloyd's assistant for a while. He helped produce both volumes 1 and 2 of the Return to Return Twos. He then helped produce Hashtag Shakespeare shitstorm, and has gone on to be like an executive producer on the Last Drive-In, and done countless other things. Street Trash. He was involved in the remake of Street Trash recently. And Castle Freak. Fuck, he's done a lot. And I feel like I'm a slacker. It's terrible. All these people around me do so much.
The last thing I'll say before I turn it over to Jay, talk about nostalgia. One of the interesting things about this movie and what makes it, I think, so nostalgic for people of my generation as well, is the cartoon series, The Toxic Crusaders,
Yeah.
which was kind of like a brilliant way to shift people into adulthood or into more horror, because then you see this character as a cartoon, but then you see him as a real thing. And that's kind of what led me to it. Because as a kid, I had all the action figures, and I still have my little Toxie on my desk that I keep all the time. But I had one Christmas where it was just my mom opened a box, and it was just all of the different figures, and it was so unique for the time, and I don't know that we could ever recreate that. But the late '80s, early '90s were so brilliant for toys and for marketing, that kind of stuff. But again,
Tales
I
from
think
the
that goes
Crypt
with the
did it.
nostalgia. Yeah, is having a physical version of a character to hold while you watch the character on screen, and then, like I said, you end up growing up and becoming a Toxie fan in real life. So yeah, I absolutely love this movie. I don't know how anybody who loves horror couldn't love this film.
It should be impossible. It should be illegal. I agree with the toys. I had all of them as well. Of course, during the course of my 41 years on this earth, they have disappeared. I'm sure my parents sold them in a yard sale, but I am actively trying to get them back. When we went, where did you and I guess it was FrankenCon, and we stopped at Walmart, and they had the new versions of the figures.
Dr. Killamov.
Yeah, I had them for $10. I'm like, yeah, like they had two for each of us. Yeah, we're never going to hit that again with that and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mhm.
At least now they're doing the recreation figures where they're newer, they're tighter, they're shinier. So I can appreciate that. The new comics are pretty solid too. I don't know if anyone else has.
Absolutely.
I
And
will
here's-
And
say,
here's what I
I hate, and I told Jay this, I hate his design. I hate the way they made his face look. That absolutely kills me. It throws me off because it's so doofy. It's not
That's
even
fair. That's
it's not even
completely
funny. It's
fair.
just
All
doofy.
the characters are slightly different, but here's what pisses me off. Like I love it. I love them. I have them all so far. I'm constantly ordering them. But these assholes at Ahoy Comics are including trading cards variants with trading cards. And you guys know I have a trading card addiction. So I'm like, I have to get them all. And then I realized that after I was already 5 or 6 deep. So I ended up going on to eBay, finding the ones with the cards, repurchasing some of the other ones. But I appreciate that. And they're essentially introducing that to a new audience too, right? So they can make them look different, just like in the reimagining, like he's short, he looks different, he has that eye. People are upset about that because we have this connection to the original, and that's fine. But it's my same logic that I've talked about in the past with like Hellboy. I'd rather have some version of Hellboy than no Hellboy at all. So I'm
Well, and the thing,
fine.
like his mop is now like a weapon as opposed to a calling card, and I don't mind it. Again, I'll have to wait to see it, and Peter Dinklage is fantastic, and I did see an interview where he said that he's not even the person in the prosthetics.
no,
It's a woman.
her name is Lisa. I think it's or Luisa Guerrera, something like that. It's somewhere along that. But she's a known stunt woman in Hollywood. She's big time stuff. Did you read about how she learned to do what she did for the movie? It's brilliant. So, uh, Peter Dinklage went through, recorded all the dialogue, but he also, in his home, worked in front of a screen. So he would do the moves, he would say the lines, he would give the full performance, and then she studied those tapes. So there is an element of his performance in hers as well. But in the back of my head, I'm just like, all I want to see is the Dinklage rehearsal tapes. Like that's what I want, like tucked away on a hard drive somewhere. It's just like the whole movie, just Peter Dinklage in front of a little screen in his house. The little doggies go running in front of him or whatever while
The-
he's doing it.
The,
I would
Dink-
The
watch
the
that.
Dinklage
Dinklage
tape
cut.
sounds like a
The
yeah, that
Dinklage
sounds like
tape.
48 Hours Mysteries. The Dinklage tapes.
The Dinklage cut.
Peter
Yeah.
tapes. Release the Peter tapes.
Yeah. Hey,
The
you get in
Peter
trouble for
Files.
that in,
Wait, let's not call it the Peter Files.
2025.
That's probably not a good name.
In a lot of
Release
trouble
the
for
Peter
that.
Files. I'm sorry. What did you
But
say?
I'm excited for it. I know we've discussed in our group text like how people were saying it's unreleasable and it's never going to get released, and I kept saying it's going to get released. Like the names involved alone is enough to get this movie put out in some format, whether it goes to theaters or just a physical release. It had to get released somehow. Like I just couldn't fathom
Yeah.
that not happening. So I'm glad it did.
You guys saw the pop at Comic-Con for it, right? Like the huge Hall H pop. I mean, that's massive. Like that's absolutely massive. And you know what? Again, no spoilers, no nothing. It, fans should be happy for the point that you made, Jay. Like you want the guy out there. You want Toxie in your life. You want him in your world. But again, the story is actually really quite wonderful. It is they pull no punches. It gets very rowdy very quickly, and it's just a fun fucking ride. Like it's such a fun fucking ride.
I've seen posts today that we're getting a Toxic Peen on screen.
Is it a sequel or a reboot?
No. It's neither.
Reimagining, right?
It's a reimagining.
Is it?
It is in it.
So it's not the same universe. Like Melvin doesn't exist as another Toxie or nothing.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
None of that. It is fully its own thing. It is fully its own thing. And God bless him for it. The only thing I'll tell you is I would say inside of the first 15 minutes, as a viewer, that the people making it have a desperate understanding of the source material. You know that inside of the first 15 minutes. It's beautiful.
And that's what's going to make it work right there.
Yes.
Like someone that actually, it's kind of like everybody shit on the monsters, and I don't know how you felt about it, Ben. I liked it. And that was like a Rob Zombie passion project. So he stayed true to that core material. And that's what pissed people off. Everybody was pissed in the beginning. Like, Rob Zombie, it's gonna say fuck. There's gonna be his wife's gonna be naked. It's gonna be awful. And then he completely did the opposite. And everybody's like, what is this shit? This isn't Rob. Like he couldn't win, right?
I saw something
Right.
recently, and the person was arguing that this is going to be a cult classic in a few years. That once that hatred that people had wears off, when people start to watch it, they're going to realize this is a really good movie. It's fun. It's campy. It's almost, one of those movies that's destined to be a cult classic.
100%. Yes.
And I'm biased. I'm biased with Rob, but I like even Lindsay enjoyed it. And my mom watched it. She enjoyed it. Like it's a fun movie. And if you're pissed because it's too cheesy, you didn't watch the original series, right?
It's almost like a
100%.
modern, kind of like a very Brady movie, or like do you remember how the Brady Bunch movies were in the '90s? It's that
Yes.
vibe where it's the same thing. It's just really over the top and modern, and yeah. So
Yeah, I enjoyed that one a lot. But that's not what I don't think I've talked about what the movie we're discussing at all, really. Yeah, but nothing, when I go last, it's usually the same unless it's our opinions are extremely different. I love this movie. I've loved this movie from the jump. Granted, when we watched it originally, we didn't pick up on the themes like John mentioned earlier. Like there's so many underlying themes in this film. I love the whole series. Like I have the 4K box set. I have the series. I have the sound. I have everything because I just adore it. It's ridiculous. It's over the top. It's fun. It's nostalgic.
I have a quick question for you guys, actually, and I'm desperately curious to know, out of the four Troma movies, out of the four official Toxies and Toxie sequels, what's your order? What are your favorites out of it? What is your order? Mine is very defined.
Who wants to take that one first?
Oh, I'll go ahead and go first because I'm the most disappointing human being on earth. I've only seen the first one. Continue.
Oh, okay, right on. Okay.
I would say 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if I've seen 4, honestly. I don't know if I ever saw Citizen Toxie.
Oh my God.
But
Okay.
I would say right in order, 1, 2, and 3. I would go right down the line. Kind of boring, but 1 is the best, is what I mean. 3,
Yeah, of course.
but, yeah.
Sure.
Right. So
Honestly, I would almost go 1, 2, 4, 3. I really
Got it.
like Citizen Toxie. but none of them miss for me. You know,
See,
sometimes in film series, when there's four more, there's some that are shitty. But I'm also a huge fan of the Class of Nukem High. Those I would put three, two, one. I think in my order. But yeah, I think one's the original OG. It's got to be number one for me. But I think two, and I think I would swap four and three. But I love three a lot too.
so I would actually argue it's four, one, two, and three. Three to me is two and three. Two was the first one I ever saw. First Toxie movie I ever saw was actually the sequel where he goes to Japan. Um, I'm sure you guys are aware, but two and three were originally supposed to be one film. Uh, and now Troma has gone through. I don't know if you guys have caught up with this, but they've put out Mr. Melvin. Mr. Melvin is basically a supercut of two and three, trimmed and re-edited by a couple of guys up in the office, Andrew Miller and Adam Peltier, both who show up in The Power of Positive Murder, Lloyd's latest literary adaptation, which I had the
With
joy of
Vito
co-producing.
Trigo.
Vito, Vito, what a good man.
Yes.
Vito is in Power of Positive Murder. He plays our detective and turned in an amazing performance, an amazing performance. And the reason I put four first is when I was an intern up there, the first day, first thing I got handed was a rough cut on VHS of Citizen Toxie. And it was like, go home and study this because this is what we're working on all summer. This is what if you have any ideas. There were no sound effects in. It was far from the final cut. It was very rough around the edges. By the end of that summer, we'd already held an audience test screening, and I was doing the dialogue list for foreign releases. So, dialogue list on a movie like that is you just go through and you write down every bit of dialogue exactly as it is in the film so you can get it to your foreign markets so they can fucking rearrange shit, or translate it, not rearrange it, translate it into their tongue. So there are still parts of that movie that I have committed. Yeah.
No, four was great. I like the opposite Toxie with the chain.
Noxie,
Kabuki
yeah.
Man's in it too, right?
Yes, there's a
Yeah.
good and bad Kabuki Man, though it's arguable that both versions of Kabuki Man are somewhat bad. I mean, the way that movie ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, a very drunken Kabuki Man may or may not have had sex with people that he should not have. No spoilers for Citizen Toxie.
So that's homework, John, for you for sure. If you haven't seen that one yet, you should watch that one.
Stan Lee called it the true sequel,
Yeah.
the real sequel. Yeah.
I remember reading that. I actually I read a Stan Lee autobiography. He talked about Troma some in that. It was
Well, he and Lloyd wrote a movie that and had been working on a movie for probably 80 years. They were both 1,000 years old. But something, Night Witch, Night Hag, something like that. They have a script. It's still unproduced and, it exists somewhere, but they were very big friends, very, very big friends.
That would be amazing. Other than that, I do have one question. I don't know if anybody knows. Ben, you might. Why did he go under Samuel Wheel when he directed this?
Oh, to subvert the DGA, so he could continue to make his own movies outside of the system. It was his nom de plume. So he would direct Troma stuff under that title while working inside of the union-based system in Hollywood under his given name. Yeah.
Nice.
And then eventually, famously, he told the DGA to go fuck. And and then we have 50 years of trauma to thank for it. But yeah. Yeah, yeah. Do you guys know what the Toxic Avenger was originally called?
I do not.
Health Club Horror. It was being promoted as Health Club Horror. And the whole thing spawned. There are two real big impetuses for this film. One, of course, being the pollution. The pollution. Lloyd and Patty Pie, the commish, very wonderful, wonderful wife. They used to go camping and they would go to this campground and it was completely fucked with like beer cans and fucking Twinkie wrappers and all kinds of bullshit. And he took note of it. Oh, this beautiful place where we get to go. It's all fucked up. And then the other big thing was well, two more. One was there was a headline, I think, in the New York Times or some big paper up there that said the horror movie is dead. Horror is dead. And then Lloyd was like, what better time to try and make a horror movie when nobody else is, because it had been declared dead. And then lastly was let's see, they wanted to take the piss out of the big health club scene. So he was like, we'll set it up, all the aerobics and all of that nonsense. He just thought it was a silly kind of movement and something easy to take the piss out of. Yeah.
All right, so that's all I have. So we'll go around, give our rankings. Ben, we give a score out of 5 stars. So we'll just go around and give our rankings. John?
I think, well, first I'll say the 4 people in the beginning, the 2 girls and the 2 guys, the villains, they've got to be like even over the top, got to be in the top 10 like most evil sons of bitches, bad people ever in a film, like ever. I would say they go with Ray Fiennes and Schindler's List. They go with freaking what is it, Manhunter, Dollar High, anyone you can think of ever. Also, I can't help but laugh every time I hear Melvin's voice dubbed over. That's like the funniest shit. Overall, though, yeah. Overall, though, the only thing about this movie, I think, is that it's like so crazy that like 20, 30 minutes in, you almost are like find yourself zoning out a bit because they've just thrown everything at you so hard that your sensitivity goes down. That's the only discredit I'll give it, and I know that's just part of doing something like this. It's hard. So I know it's going to sound bad. It's a 3.5 out of 5, which is a great rating for me. Jaws is a 5.
That's fair.
I
That's
give
fair.
movies that I love 3.5 out of 5. So it's not a criticism. It's just I got to be realistic. So
All right. What about you, Ben?
Oh no, this we can only go to 25 out of 5. The numbers don't matter, right? Like no, it's a cornerstone of genre. It is a 5 out of 5 for me. It's a cornerstone of genre. It redefined genre. It created genre. A quote unquote Troma movie didn't, while many existed, like they're the sexy comedies of the 70s, all of that stuff. What we know in growing up when we did Video Store Generation, what we know of as a Troma movie, when you saw that little oval logo, that didn't become its own genre until this film, until this movie, right? Like it's life changing for some of us. It sets you on a weird trajectory. It's very hopeful. It's at the end of the day, it's really a story about a guy who just wants to be accepted and is shunned every which way. He can't win for being a nerd. He can't win for being a monster hero. And it's like he's got his girl and they get a tent, and even then people fuck him over. Like it's a great movie. It's a perfect film. Perfect film. 10 of 10. 5 of 5. Whatever.
Kellen?
Yeah. So real quick, and I don't know why this popped into my head, but is Hobo with a Shotgun the greatest Troma film that wasn't made by Troma?
There's another one that we've talked about, and I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but Hobo with the Shotgun's definitely up there.
It might be the OG Street Trash.
Oh, Street Trash, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a bone of contention there. I highly suggest if you haven't read it, read Lloyd's book, All I Need to Know About Filmmaking. I learned from the Toxic Avenger. Mayor Bell Goody actually shows up in Street Trash, and I think it was while they were shooting the original Nukem High that it became a point of contention. But yeah, read it. Exceptional book.
I think a thing about this that I almost also forgot. John, thank you for pointing out the voice. That always cracks me up that he has the most normal voice. Like the whole time he's killing people, he's like, "Brr, brr, I'm so sorry, Janet. I didn't." I mean, he's just like that. That's such a brilliant thing. And it cracks me up every time that I watch this movie because I always forget that he talks so normal. But yeah, this is one of those those movies for me. I'm gonna give it a 4. I would have given it a 4.5 if they hadn't shot the dog, but I give it a 4 just for the nostalgia, the feels when I watch it. It's just one of those movies that everything about it shouldn't work in movies because it's so over the top, but because it is so over the top, it all works together. It reminds me of Mr. Burns on The Simpsons when he goes to the doctor and the doctor says, "You have every disease known to man, but they're all fighting each other, which is the only reason you haven't died." So he's like, "I'm immortal?" No, that's not. That's what this movie is. Like nothing in this movie should work individually, but you put it all together and you get a 4 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, and it worked 4 times. You know, I give it a 4 also, just because it's one of those movies that you can constantly revisit and find new things, or just sit there and enjoy yourself. It can be on as background noise, or you could sit down and really pay attention to it. And yeah, for that, it's a 4. I love it.
And the fact that the town accepts him so quickly, like usually in movies like this, like there's pickaxes and people are trying to kill the monster, but they're like, at the end, they're literally trying to protect him from being killed. Like they're like, no, he's the best. Even the cop is like,
Yeah.
no, he's a good guy.
That puts us at a overall 4 for Toxic Avenger 1984. Which I think is quite fair. So, all right, that's going to do it for this episode. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to wherever you're listening to this podcast. Follow us on Instagram, join our Facebook group. We're on TikTok. I also have an Amazon Music playlist featuring music, scores, and bands from all the films that we've talked about and all the guests that we've had. So go check that out as well. Ben, thanks for hanging out with us. If you want to take a second and tell people where they can find your work and talk about anything you have coming up.
By all means. So currently streaming on Troma now, free for the first month, $4.99 after. You can see my movie, Curse of the Weredeer. It is a wonderful little story about the need for transparency in our relationships, and we rip off 6 dicks in one sequence. It's a beautiful film. If you wanna reach out to me, I'm very accessible. I am yarn_yeti on Instagram. That is because I knit. And then lastly, I'm currently in pre-production on a film called Camp Nude Away, which will be a love letter to the old nudie cuties of the 50s and 60s. So be on the lookout for that. And then screening somewhere near you sometime soon. Lloyd Kaufman's latest masterwork, The Power of Positive Murder. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and follow T Popham, or Troma's Popham, or Troma's Punishment on your Instagram. You can find us there. See what's going on with that. It's a modern take on Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. I had the joy of co-producing that last summer, and we're coming in hot in post. So thank you so much for having me, guys. It's been a party.
Stars our buddy Vito Trigo, so there's absolutely no reason
Friend of the
this
show,
to not watch it.
Friend of the show, Vito
Friend of the
Trigo.
show. We love Vito. Him and Kellen get into it. It's pretty funny.
Very consistently.
All right. Signing off, I'm Jay with Ben, John, and Kellen. And until next time.
Keep it
Keep it
spooky.
spooky.